Assalamu alaikum. This question is directed to Brother Zaik. Basically, your speech was very enlightening. However, there was one point which I was a bit mind-geared on. Basically, you kind of went endlessly on how it's quite important to do the dawah work and the itikaf work, even if we know very little. But basically, and how you have to be how it's important to be a complete Muslim, not to, it's not important that we get our full Muslim community completely up to scratch before we do the dawah work. But my question is basically, from the Muslim community I've been brought up with, I've seen, the Muslim community being very divided among themselves. So my question is, what hope do we have for giving dawah to a third party when we ourselves are split with our, with our beliefs and our doings? For example, if you take the Eid itself, which is like one of the important celebrations in the Islamic, in the Muslim thing. Basically, if we were doing it on two separate days, what hope do we have for the third party to who we are doing dawah to take upon our Eid when we are divided among ourselves?
Jazakallah khair.
Well, the question that when we do dawah to non-Muslims, when the Muslims themselves are divided, for example, Eid, some people celebrate on different days. So if we ourselves are divided, how can we do dawah with the non-Muslims? Brother, I do agree that if the Eid is celebrated on different days in the same city, there will be little problem, but that should not disappoint us. Because Eid is something else. That does not mean that a certain group of Muslims, they disagree that Eid should not be today, should be tomorrow. So that is a difference in opinion. That doesn't mean that if we differ, we cannot do dawah at all. And I said that dawah is important because if you say that I will become a great, first I'll have enough knowledge on how to do dawah with non-Muslims and then start doing dawah, I say that time will never come. If you say first I'll read about Islam and then start doing dawah, that time will never come. The moment you start and you cannot answer, you immediately try and find the answer. But if you do not start doing dawah, the time will never come. Therefore, my advice is that whatever little bit you know, you at least start. They may not agree with you. The moment you don't agree with you, you go and try and do your homework. For example, if you fail an examination, what do? If you fail an examination, you go and do your homework so the next time you pass. But if you don't talk at all for years together, then you'll never start doing dawah. So my advice is that whatever little bit you know, you have to start, as our beloved Prophet Muhammad said, "Ballighu anni walau ayah." Propagate even if you know one verse. Now, if there's difference in opinion for certain things, like about Eid or anything else, that should not be a major thing. It is a problem, it's a minor problem. Because if, suppose, at that time, the Muslims differ, some have Eid today, some have Eid tomorrow, that should not be a major problem. That's not an issue in which, because if the Muslims differ, that means you can't do dawah at all. You can sure, the full year is there. So what we should do, if these small mistakes are there, and because of that you say that, okay, I will not do dawah, I feel this is an excuse on the point of the Muslims to prevent doing dawah. See, we, alhamdulillah, even in Bombay it's the same thing. There are different opinions. But yet we are doing dawah. We are doing dawah with thousands of people. Thousands of people. And there are hardly any non-Muslims who object and tell us that why do the Muslims object? Why do the Muslims differ? Yeah, there's a little bit problem. There will be little bit problems in it. But that should not be a real case for not doing dawah. These are just small points which a person should neglect and should be interested in conveying the message of Islam to them.
Jazakallah khairan. A question from a sister who has specific